All right, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Just some housekeeping items. There are links. We're live on YouTube right now, so if by chance people are unable to get access to our Zoom link that we have on our Milton Cyber Academy webpage, there's a YouTube link as well that you can access that we are live on YouTube. Feel free to ask your questions. We probably won't be addressing those questions though until the end of our presentation, but you can feel free to add your questions in the chat feature as they come, but we will address those at the end of the presentation. So without further ado, again, my name is Mike Berge, high school co-principal and coordinator of the Milton Cyber Academy. I'm going to scroll through our presentation, PowerPoint presentation. Hopefully you guys can see the presentation. So the agenda for tonight, we're going to do some brief introductions. We're going to give you a quick overview of what our Flexible Learning Academy looks like. We're going to overview what our learning platforms in the Milton Cyber Academy are all about. And then at the end, we will do our best to answer everybody's questions. So the folks that are with us tonight, joining us, that are a part of our Milton Cyber Academy team. Mrs. Erin Kortman is with us tonight as well. She is our auxiliary instructor as well as our cyber school support person. She's my right-hand woman. She's a great support to our Milton Cyber Academy family. Kim Zalonis is new to our family. She is our online facilitator. She will be facilitating online coursework that is done here in the building, but will also be a support person for all of our cyber students at home. Norm Jones is with us tonight as well. He's our community relations guru. He'll be monitoring our questions and any concerns that people have through the chat feature. And again, my name is Mike Berge. I'm the high school co-principal and newly appointed cyber coordinator for the Milton Area School District. So I want to take a few minutes to start off our presentation tonight to give everyone maybe a little clearer understanding of what our Flexible Learning Academy looks like. I know this meeting is for our Cyber Academy. However, over the past several weeks, I've fielded dozens and dozens of phone calls with parents that needed some more information about what the Flexible Learning Academy looks like. And I believe that there may be some misunderstanding still out there as to what our Flexible Learning Academy looks like. So I'm going to take a few minutes to go through that, and then we'll talk about what some options would be for you if you like what you hear about what the Flexible Learning Academy potentially has to offer your child. So what the Flexible Learning Academy looks like. It is basically a live stream of our in-house classes. So our classes that are taught in our buildings, in the high school, middle school, White Deer, and Bacher Elementary, each of our teachers in those buildings will be streaming their classes live. So our Milton teachers will be the teacher of record for those classes. Students that are participating in the Flexible Learning Academy will follow a building schedule. So unlike last spring, specifically at the elementary level, where students logged in for a few minutes at the beginning of the day, and then we're kicked loose for the rest of the day to work on their assignments. That's going to be a little bit different this year. Students are going to follow their building schedule. So they'll be logged on to Teams pretty much all day long. They're going to get to ask questions of their in-class teachers. Those questions will be answered by their teacher. They'll be able to hear their classmates interacting with them. It'll be just as if they were in that classroom, with the exception of that they will be with you at home, safe in your house. So another benefit of our Flexible Learning Academy, it's a familiar platform. If you were with us last year, if your child was enrolled in the Milton Area School District last year, you know that we use Microsoft Teams as our streaming platform. Utilize Sapphire to update grades where assignments may have been housed. And we also utilized Microsoft Office 365 as a platform for dissemination of material as well. So very similar platforms that students have used in previous years. The last piece of this, and this is where I think a lot of people got confused. The Milton Flexible Learning Academy absolutely can be 100% virtual. There were some misunderstandings and misconceptions that people thought if you chose the Flexible Learning Academy that you needed to come into the buildings at some point. That is not the case. Your child can participate in the Flexible Learning Academy virtually 100% of the time, meaning they do not have to come into the building for any reason. So if that is something that sounds appealing to you, then we have some options for you. So how does that compare to our cyber school? Our Milton Cyber Academy is a traditional asynchronous learning environment. And what that means, asynchronous means, is there's no live face-to-face interactions with teachers or classmates in that. It is all self-paced to a certain extent. There's a certain amount of assignments that students are expected to complete each week, but students can work at their own time and at their own pace. Again, there's no live teacher on the other end of the computer for direct instruction. Within the lessons, there's embedded videos, audio recordings, material that needs to be read, maybe some assignments that need to be completed and maybe uploaded, and then assessments that the students will take at the end of their lessons. And that assessment then drives the direction they go with their coursework. If they didn't quite get the material, then they might have to backtrack a little bit. If they grasp the material, they can move on. Now, there are teachers available that can help support our Milton Cyber Academy students. The teachers have office hours that you could talk with those teachers. You can email them. Mrs. Cortman, Mrs. Alonis are available as well to support those students. But I just wanted you to get an idea of what the difference between the Milton Flexible Learning Academy and the Milton Cyber Academy, difference between those two are. So if what I explained with the Milton Flexible Learning Academy, if you're saying, you know what, that's what I want for my child or my kids, then we have an option for you. What you can do is you can go to our Milton Cyber Academy webpage on the Milton Area School District. And at the top of the Milton Cyber Academy webpage, you'll be able to click on this link and you can see it right there. If you're saying, I want to change my kid from Milton Cyber Academy to the Milton Flexible Learning Academy, there's a link there and it's listed right in the PowerPoint presentation, as you can see here. It is cyber2flexible@miltonsd.org. So if that's something that interests you, you can either write down the email address that you see here, or you can simply go to our school's webpage, click on the virtual academies, and then the Milton Cyber Academy, and then that link is at the top of the page. You can click on it. When you click on that link, it's going to take you to an email, and a couple of things that I want to make sure that you include in that email to help us make the appropriate changes for your child. First thing I want you to do, I want you to include your child's name, the grade that your child is in, and the building that they would be attending this year if they were coming into the building. Okay, so those things are important so that we can make sure that we notify the appropriate people of the change and that your child is ready to go on day one of school. So again, if you're interested in changing your educational selection for your child, simply go to the Milton Cyber Academy webpage. At the top, you'll see a link that says cyber2flexible@miltonsd.org. Click on that. Include in that email your child's name, grade that they are going to be in this year, and the building name that they would normally be attending. Hope that sheds a little bit light on what our Flexible Learning Academy is. The remainder of the night is going to be spent diving into what you can expect from our Milton Cyber Academy for your child. So the next part of this, Mrs. Cortman is going to be presenting, and I believe Mrs. Cortman needs to get access to sharing. So I'm going to stop sharing. Mr. Jones and Mrs. Cortman can have access to share so she can share her PowerPoint presentation. All right, you should be good, Mrs. Cortman, and she is. All yours, Mrs. Cortman.
Good evening, Milton parents. I am the current cyber facilitator, and I'm going to try to help walk you through what this year is going to look like. Maybe if my Zoom will work. There we go. All right, so students in grades 9 through 12 should have received their username and password to their Milton Area School District email, and it will be coming from the mail sender at Genius, so don't look for something coming from Milton. It comes from an outside source. Grades K through 8, we should be hopefully getting those out to you tomorrow. If you're in the group of 9 through 12 and you still don't have a username or password, please email me directly with your first and last name and the grade you're in, and I will get it to you. And another important piece of it is you need to make sure you have Sapphire access for all of your students. This is twofold. For the secondary classes, this is where we keep track of the due dates and assignments and your grades, which go right onto your report card, and also for communication purposes with the elementary kids. The best way to know if your student is being successful is to log on as them. If you have an elementary student, you're going to be their learning coach, and so you're going to be on with them every day, and you'll be able to see what they're doing and what's getting turned in. If you're the parent of a secondary student, you will need to log on as them if you're wanting to know how they're doing so that you can keep up with them. And also, again, with the secondary parents, we keep all of that information in Sapphire as far as due dates go. Regardless if you're secondary or elementary, we all log in the same way. So when you get to the website, this is your login screen, and again, you use your passwords. From there, you get to your Genius dashboard. Here is where you will find whichever courses you are enrolled in. Elementary students, we use Accelerate Ed. You'll have 4 of these courses. This one happens to be language arts on the test site we're using. Or history. If you're a high school student or a secondary student at all, you're going to have multiple classes. It is possible if you have an elective, you might use a different site, but no matter which one you pick, it takes you to the correct dashboard. Also on your dashboard, you have lots of tools you can utilize. 2 of the most important ones are the contact the school and your student activity and the suggested pacing. This is an example of an elementary grade book. Here you can see the assignments, which module they're in, and the target due dates for the assignments. The pacing and due dates for the secondary kids, as I said before, there are grade books available within the Edison and Keola system, but it is not a perfect match to keep them on pace with what's expected of them in the building. So again, get a hold of your Sapphire account. You can log in that way. If you do not have your student Sapphire information, you can go ahead and contact Sharon Yannon in the district office and she will get it to you. As I said before, we use Accelerate Ed for the elementary program. There are 2 videos embedded here. I can click them, but I'm afraid it's going to waste time where we should be answering questions that you guys might have. But I do believe that this PowerPoint is on the website and you can go to both of them. This is an example of a dashboard for a secondary student. Again, I only have 1 class loaded. Important features are at the top there. You've got the home screen and the email button. That is where your teachers will be contacting you about due dates, possible extra credit assignments. And over on the left, under the advisor, the ESW help, this link on this page is the exact same link that's on that one. And it is, I think there's probably 30 to 40 helpful videos, how the program works, different ways you can find help, examples of writing sources, all kinds of help is embedded in that program. A few helpful tips I've discovered over the last 8 years is that Firefox seems to respond best with Accelerate Ed and Keola. If you have an Apple device, you're going to want to make sure you've downloaded the Adobe Reader. When you are utilizing the Keola courses, secondary kids, again, you want to make sure that first time you're going to get a pop-up blocker and you need to tell it to always allow. Sometimes the classes, if you're in the middle of an assessment, it might freeze on you or not progress to the next question. We've discovered that if you just go clear your cache for whichever browser you're using and reload the page, it should let you move on to the next question. And so what if you need help, right? That's a question everybody always has. So if it's a technical question, you're going to want to go to that dashboard and the contact school with the little life preserver there. And you just simply let them know what you need and send it out. If it's something they can fix, they fix it. If it's not something they can fix, they send it to us and we'll help you out. If it's academic assistance you're going to need with one of your classes, always check with your class teacher first. You get their email addresses in your welcome email from your teachers. You also get all of that information embedded in your course dashboard. As Mr. Berge said, both Accelerate Ed and Keola all your kids have real live teachers. They're just not in our building. So they have office hours and tutoring center hours. They have the ability to connect with your student and do a virtual Blackboard session. So basically your student and the teacher can both work virtually together and get through the concept or the lesson or whatever they might be struggling with. If neither of those got you the answer you needed or the help you were seeking, then we ask if you would email all three of us for now, myself, Dr. Zelonis, and Mr. Berge, so that one of us is able to answer you when we're available and you're not waiting in case one of us didn't see your email in time. And we just want to say welcome to the cyber family. We know this is new for you. What's new for us is the sheer amount of students we're going to be helping this year. And we're going to do everything we can to help you. So if you're patient with us, we will do everything we can to help you. And it's back to you, Mr. Berge.
Got it. Thank you very much, Mrs. Cortman. All right, folks, at this time, feel free to send your questions our way in the chat feature or in the Q&A feature, and we will do our best to answer those questions. Yeah, so one of the questions that was brought up was talking about what if at some point we would like to transition our child back into the building if our environment were to change. We can definitely do that. One of the things that we have said from the start of this process, though, whatever educational option you choose for your children or your child, we are asking that you do your best to try to keep that selection stable for at least a marking period. So stay with that choice for at least one marking period. At the end of a marking period, if you say, you know what, we'd like to make a change, we can do that. Obviously, we're not forcing anybody into anything that they feel is detrimental for their children and for their child's education. So we would absolutely be willing to enter into a conversation with you if you felt like you needed to make a change outside of that. For those of you that are worried about that transition from a cyber program into the classroom, what I can say is that transition is significantly easier to occur at a marking period point to make that transition. However, if you're in the Flexible Learning Academy and you want to make a change from being at home to being in the building, there's zero transition because you will be learning the exact same material with the exact same people in the exact same environment. Rather than being behind a computer, you will be in the classroom with the students. So there is zero transition for that. So just something to keep in mind with that Flexible Learning Academy piece. So one question was my high school student schedule is not up to date yet. Was not updated with the guidance counselor. That is something I would ask that you would shoot Mrs. Robinson an email. If the schedule was in there and it was removed, that's because we took them out and we put them in our cyber courses for our high school students. So if your son's schedule was in there, Shannon, and it was removed, that's because we have them enrolled in the cyber program. If it was never in there, then I would encourage you to email Mrs. Robinson directly and say, hey, I need to make sure we get a schedule in there for my child so that when we go to enroll him in his courses that it's there. So a question, this is a good question because you're probably not the only one in this, Veronica. For those of us that weren't able to pick up their device for the past 2 days, when can we pick them up? Yeah, this past Monday and Tuesday, so yesterday and today, you were able to. Last week as well, 2 days. For those of you that are in that situation who cannot pick your device up, effective probably this Thursday, either between tomorrow and Thursday, we are going to deliver those devices to your child's respective building. And at that point, then you can contact your child's building and say that, hey, I need to get my child's device. Just verify that the device is in the office, and you can go into the school and pick that device up. Okay. So Landon Dries didn't get a login info. How can we get it? That depends on the grade. If it is 8th grade down through kindergarten student. We are still waiting on our vendor, Accelerate Ed, to mass enroll our students. It's a process that we have 150, maybe to 200, probably close to 200 students in that grade level. It was impossible for us to enroll them. Accelerate Ed offered their services to enroll them. Fortunately, now we're at the mercy of Accelerate Ed as to when they're going to get them enrolled. Hopefully, we are hoping, I know Mrs. Cortman and I are praying and hoping that tomorrow morning, we're going to get an email saying kids are enrolled. Once Accelerate Ed has all of our kids enrolled, that's when you will get an email with a generated email from them, basically like a welcome email explaining how to get access to your appropriate courses and login information, password information. At that point, then we will be able to start inputting courses for all of our kids. So first day of school, as long as everybody has their classes and they are enrolled, is expected to be this Thursday. That's when you'll be expected to start. Looking at roughly, I believe, Mrs. Corbin, is it 10 assignments per week, I believe, or 20 assignments? I think it's 10 assignments per week. It's
roughly 10 assignments. It's 2 assignments per class per day.
There you go. Okay.
Roughly. That's a rough estimate.
There's a pacing guide that is on the website that you'll be able to see to ensure that your child's staying on pace. Okay. And then, yeah, the tablet is appropriate. The iPad is appropriate for your child at their level. Obviously, if for some reason or other we cannot get that mass enrollment back from Accelerate Ed, your child is not going to be held in any way, shape, or form held accountable for not being able to log onto their courses. We completely understand that. We're doing our best to try to get them, get that enrollment process taken care of. We will be able to quickly get the turnaround on our end of things to get kids enrolled into their classes. We're anticipating in less than a day, as soon as we get the green light, and within less than a day, we should be able to easily have all of our K through 8th grade students enrolled. Got it. Good question. So the next question is from Jen. She said, if in a traditional ed environment, our students were enrolled in 4 courses, but we only see 3 courses on their online program, can they pick up a course? You can pick up a course. That's absolutely not a problem. I'm not sure if that was an elective course that was dropped that probably we weren't able to fill. Again, that depends on the grade level. I would email Mrs. Cortman personally, Jen, if there's a course that you are definitely wanting to enroll your child in.
Mr. Berge, there were some high school students that I'm waiting to hear back from guidance about which class they would like, because it could have been something that we couldn't fulfill, like wood shop or something like that.
Gotcha. Okay. Got it. Okay. So somebody just, again, wanted a little bit of clarification between our cyber school and flexible learning. Okay. So easiest way to describe it, flexible learning is our teachers in the building are live streaming their classes. Cyber school, it is online content that is self-paced and there's no live streaming component. It is all asynchronous, and that means that there's no live streaming piece. There's no live direct instruction from a teacher. It is either preloaded videos, it is assignments that they need to work through, quizzes that they need to take, assessments that they need to take. So flexible learning, it is mirroring our building schedule, and our teachers are live streaming their classes. Hope that helps a little bit. So again, for anybody that is in that situation where you have classes loaded onto either your Edison or your Accelerate Ed, and you feel like you're missing a class, email Mrs. Cortman directly, and she'll be able to help you out with that. Hotspots, yeah, that's going to be a big question. So the best way that I can explain this to our families, we're operating under basically like a triage unit here. Our tech department is prioritizing the most important things at this point to move towards, and getting devices into our students' hands right now is the most important thing for all 2,100 students that are in our district. As soon as that is done, and hopefully that will be this Thursday once all of our kids return and we're able to get them their devices, after that point, they should be able to get to our hotspots pretty quickly. At that point, then once our hotspots become available, someone from the school district will contact you and notify your ability to come pick up your hotspot. Again, that's not, I don't anticipate that being before Friday of this week, and Friday would probably be the earliest. So just be patient with us. Again, if the hotspot is your only method of internet access at your home, your child will not be held negatively accountable for the missed work that they are missing in the cyber program. It'll just be a little bit of a delayed start. If that is the case, I would encourage you to try to access all of your resources to try to get them to a place where they would have access to the internet so that they can work again. But no one will be held negatively liable for a situation like that if they don't have an issue because we were not able to provide a hotspot. Okay, so question was, if we are new to the district, how do we get ourselves a Sapphire account? Your child's Sapphire account is automatically generated when you enroll your child in the Milton Area School District. As far as the parent account, that is something that you should get a login and password and a PIN number. If you don't have that information, reach out to the district office. You can contact Sharon Yan in the district office. Phone number there is 570-742-7614. Dial the extension for the district office and ask for Sharon Yannon or one of the secretaries and just say, I'm looking for Sapphire information, and they will be able to get you to the appropriate person. What was the other one? Got it. So interaction with our students who are participating in the 100% flexible learning option. What's the interaction like with the student to the teacher, teacher to the student? So students will be engaged. I know at the high school we have a set of norms for our students that we are asking that their cameras on. If a student at home has a question, they handle it the exact same way they would as if they were in the classroom. They will raise their hand. They'll raise it digitally, but they'll still raise their hand. Teacher will be able to respond to them. All of our teachers were provided with webcams. So they're a little bit better than the camera that you're actually viewing me on right now, which is my computer's, my laptop's camera. The webcams have a better quality camera, better quality microphone. Your child will be able to ask a question and communicate with your teacher just like they did last year in Teams. And teacher will be able to respond. There may be some group interaction with their classmates as well. And your child at home will be able to hear that interaction with their classmates because of the speakers that are provided along with the microphone that is on the webcam. So there will be lots of opportunities for interaction for your children at home should you choose the Milton Flexible Learning Academy. Cyber question, if our school issued device is not ready, can we use a personal device? You absolutely can because it is a web-based program. So you can absolutely use a personal device. Where are assignments located for our cyber students? Are they in Sapphire or are they on our online platform, our Genius platform? Both, actually. For right now, though, your place where you will go to get your assignments and you will actually work will be within the Genius program. You will log into Genius, and there's where you will access your courses. Like Mrs. Cortman said, for high school, it will be your Edison courses, and for elementary school, it will be Accelerate Ed. That's where you will access those. Where the Sapphire piece comes into play is that at the end of each week, all of our students' grades will be transferred from our Genius platform, Accelerate Ed and Edison, into Sapphire. Now, that's going to take us a little bit to get all of those courses created in all of our students' grade books. So maybe like a week or two until that becomes live. But that actually, Sapphire is where you will eventually go to get your most accurate look at your child's progress. That's where you'll want to go because there's a pacing piece that is housed within Genius and Accelerate Ed that can be a little tricky to understand It may look like your child is doing really, really well. But let's just say at the end of a week, they should have had, let's say, hypothetically, 30 assignments done. But they only completed 10 assignments. So the percent grades that you will see on your dashboard will be the percentage score that they got on those 10 assignments. But in reality, they should have had 30 assignments done. So that's where the Sapphire piece for parents, from a parent perspective, will give you the best look at to what their grade actually is at that point. Mrs. Courtman, is there anything that you'd like to add to that piece?
As far as the grade books and assignments go?
Yeah, if there's anything I didn't explain clear enough or that I was missing with that.
No, I think you did a great job of it. That's what I meant when I said that it doesn't match up exactly, and that's why we put them in Sapphire, so that everybody knows exactly what needs to get done each week to stay on pace.
How to log into your iPad? That's a good question. I didn't know there was a login for iPads. Is there a login for iPads, Mr. Jones? Is it the same one generated through the district? I didn't think they had one. Got it. So that would be if it's asking for login credentials for the iPads for the elementary students, that's a question again for the district office. Contact the district office and they'll be able to get you the appropriate login information for your child. Throughout this process, another good point of contact, in addition to myself, Mrs. Courtman, Dr. Zalonis, you can contact your building secretaries as well. Your child's respective building, you can contact them as well. They're there to support you. One of the questions that came up earlier was as far as special education services, how will that work? For those of you that your child is receiving any special education services, the case manager that they would have had in the building is their exact same case manager that they will have if they are participating either in the Flexible Learning Academy or if they are utilizing Milton Cyber Academy. That special education case manager will still be there, will still be communicating with you and your child, and will be supporting you and your child through this process as well. But that doesn't go away. You will receive the same educational opportunities and experiences afforded by the IEP. No, okay. Where's that one? Yeah, so cyber or flex, if there's a course in the building that you would like to come in for, you absolutely have the ability to do that. The example that was given, like band and chorus, maybe some courses that there isn't a direct online cyber version of. Our students do have that ability. We just ask that you make sure you communicate effectively with us so that we know when to expect you for that. Veronica, I'm not sure what you're asking there. Bluetooth data towards the end of the year. Sorry, Veronica, I'm not following your question. If you want to try to re-enter that in a different way, I'll do my best to answer it. Or you can email me separately at mberge@miltonsd.org, and I'll do my best to answer your question, or I'll give you a call. Extracurricular classes for the cyber, for kids that are choosing to participate 100% cyber. I'm assuming you're talking about some type of elective courses. We have not done those typically in the past. Not saying that we're not open to doing those, but there is probably a pretty large list of extra courses other than the core content subjects. And I'll revert back to what I said to before. If there happens to be a class that your child would want to take in the building, that is absolutely an option. I would just ask probably at this point that you communicate that not only with myself, but also with the respective building secretaries so that they know to expect your child coming in during that time frame. So for any of you that have scheduling concerns, if you've been paying attention to your child's schedule, this is primarily at the high school level, high school, middle school level, where our Sapphire schedules have been inputted. If there has not been a schedule in place, and there still is not a schedule in place in Sapphire, I just ask that you would reach out to your child's guidance counselor just to see where they are in that process, because they're the ones that are passing that information along to us to make sure that we utilize those courses to enroll them in the appropriate classes. Again, if you've been following closely and you know that your child has not had a schedule in Sapphire to this point, I would ask that you email your child's respective guidance counselor just to get clarification on that process and to see where they're at. What if I need help with something on the tablet during an assessment? Mrs. Cortman, you want to take that one?
I'm not sure what that would be. So I would say first line of defense is always use the contact school, I think it said on that first dashboard, and let them know, because if you're frozen in an assessment, it's likely something to do with the program and not with the device. We can't fix something with the program, that has to go through them. But if you're in the middle, if it's ever a panicked situation, emailing me will get you an answer, hopefully within a few hours.
So another question, just for a clarification question, someone asked if we want to switch from cyber to flex, where do we go? I can direct you to the top of the Milton Cyber Academy webpage. So if you go to the Milton, you know what? Mr. Jones, do I have the ability to share my screen? Yep. Okay, so we're going to see if I can get you guys. If I can find Chrome. I don't see Chrome there, Mr. Jones. Maybe I won't. No, I was going to see if I could pull up the web page just to walk people where they're supposed to get access to that information. If you can, that'd be fantastic. Mr. Jones is going to show you our Milton webpage and how to get access to the Milton Cyber Academy webpage from there. Those banana pancakes look pretty good right there. So here's our Milton webpage. And if you look at the top there on that bar where it has all the different labels, virtual academies, click on that. And then the Milton Cyber Academy is the first link down. Click on that. And then if you look right at the top there, changing your selection from Cyber Academy to 100% Flexible Learning Academy, click on that link right there, and that will take you to an email where you can plug in your child's name, the grade that they are going into this school year, and the building that they would normally be attending. Thank you, Mr. Jones. So the way the web page looks right now, there's a lot of information on there. Norm and I were just talking before this. We're going to do our best to get this web page cleaned up at this point moving forward. And we're going to try to make it more appropriate for what the needs of our families and students will be moving forward. So any type of support, how-to videos, we'll have this PowerPoint presentation will be up there, which is going to have direct links to all the tutorial videos. That stuff will be on here as well. We're going to put up on here pretty shortly some frequently asked questions as well. So those things are going to be on there. We're going to try to make this as easily accessible and usable to our families as we possibly can make it, so that you don't have to search real hard to find the answers that you're looking for. And if you wanted to look on the Flexible Learning Academy, under the Virtual Learning Academy, there is the Flexible Learning Academy as well. There's some information about the Flexible Learning Academy on that page as well. So I'm looking at one of the questions we just had here. It said, what about my kindergarten iPad not coming with a charger? It's a problem. That was an accident if that happened. Just email me directly email me directly, Mr. Berge, and I will make sure that we get you a charger so that your child has access to that. What's going on with our CTE courses? For those of you that don't know what our CTE courses at the high school level, they are career and technical education courses. So like construction trades, automotive technology, criminal justice, ag, accounting, early childhood education. Those courses are still going on as normal. They are taking place in the building. If your child was participating in that and you would still like them to participate in those classes, you can absolutely send them into the building for those classes. Certain courses, I'm going to be honest with you, will be very challenging to get the full experience of those courses and the skills necessary learning virtually. If you're comfortable with sending your child into the building for just those CTE courses, their respective CTE courses, I would encourage you to do that. If you're completely against that, just understand that the majority of our CTE programs, there's a huge hands-on component that's really difficult to replicate in a virtual environment. I assure you that our teachers will do the best job that they can to make that experience as enjoyable and most beneficial to our students as possible. Content keeper and elementary iPads. Yep, I don't think that's going to go away. You're going to have to sign into Content Keeper occasionally, if not every day. At least it was for my girls. We had to. They just kind of got themselves into a routine. If something wasn't working, they went into Content Keeper and they signed into that as well. Yep. Login information for Content Keeper. I can't recall if that's the same as their regular login information. Do you recall that, Mr. Jones? Yeah, is that their same login and password? I don't remember if it is or not.
It's their same number for
lunch code, student ID, okay. Okay, and that was entered twice. That's Mr. Jones' dad recalling from his kid's experience as well. So, and I didn't remember that. All right. Is there any other questions here? PSSA and Keystone exams. Yes. Just because we're doing cyber does not mean that your child is exempt from those state mandated tests. At this point right now, those tests, we haven't given the green light to do those digitally. So as of right now, those are all in-person exams. We will, for those of us, those families that are not comfortable sending their kids in, we'll have to have that conversation closer to those exams taking place. But as of right now, the state is still requiring that all students take those exams. So I've jumped over to the Q&A section. It says, my son's 9th grade, his laptop is not able to be accessed as of now. Okay, so here's another point that I need to get to. I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you, Kevin. So just found out today that there were quite a few of our devices where your child's email account was hijacked over the summer. This was like beginning of the summer. I know this because I received no less than 50 emails from those email accounts from your children, for whoever's children that may have been. But our tech department was aware of that, and they took care of removing all of that information. However, there's still some work that needs to be done to those devices. So if by chance you have a device that you can't get access to and you know you're using the correct login and password, more than likely your child's device was one of those that was affected by that hijacking of email information. I'll go back to the same thing that I said before. We're in a triage mode. Our tech department is aware of that. We're going to do what we can as a district to help support them in that process. I believe that there's some things that we can do to help rectify that situation as quickly as possible. But again, if we don't have that information to you and your child's not able to log on because of that, please understand that we're working as quickly as we can to rectify that. And no negative recourse will come if your child's not able to log on day 1, day 2 of the school year. Just be looking out for that. Those individuals that are affected by that, once we get that list, we're going to send a sapphire blast out to those families, letting them know that, yep, your account was one of the ones that was hijacked, and we will rectify that as quickly as possible. And then at that point, it will just simply be a matter of a new password will be assigned to your child and to log in, and then you should be good to go. So Shannon, I saw you just put in there a minute ago. I think that was probably addressing the same topic that I was just addressing. If they think there's a possibility they forgot their password, then I would just contact the district office and they'll be able to get you that password. At that point, if the password that they give you does not work, then more than likely your daughter's email account was one of the ones that was hijacked. And from the information that I got from our tech department, that happens because of utilizing the same password for multiple different sites and locations. And that was one thing that they recommended not doing. And actually, the old password that was compromised, which allowed them to get access to their email account, they are saying that you can absolutely not use that password ever again. Just keep that in mind if you're one of those families. Yes, sir. I said I did address the Keystone exams, yes. Okay. So I'll revisit the Keystone exam and the PSSA exams. If you're doing cyber or flex, we're going to have to come up with something for you guys. One of the things that the state does require is there are very strict guidelines and expectations from us as a school district as to what the testing environment has to look like. What we can do is we probably could put those individuals that are not comfortable going to one of our testing locations, we could house them in an environment where they would borderline be by themselves or only with like 1 or 2 other individuals. And again, this isn't definitive because our first Keystone exam administration, which is kind of messed up this year, but there will actually be a Keystone exam administration for high school students going to be this fall in September. And it's typically not the first one is typically in January, the beginning of January. But because it wasn't able to be taken last spring, that administration is actually bumped to the fall. So high school students, we will have quite a few students that will have to take it at that time. That one won't be mandatory. If you're still definitely not comfortable with your child taking it at that point, then we can always wait until our winter administration for the Keystone exam. Obviously, the PSSAs do not occur till March. We'll have more information about those Keystone exams Keystone and PSSA exams as they get closer to that point. And hopefully we'll have some better information for those of you that still aren't comfortable with sending your children in. I don't think third grade takes PSSA. I'm not. No, that's right around the starting point for PSSAs. I apologize. For my limited understanding of our PSSAs, I've been a high school guy my entire career, so. Any other questions, folks? If your question was earlier up in the thread and I didn't answer it, feel free to copy and paste it back into there. Because I don't know if I missed anything. I tried to hit most all of them. So if you have any other questions, I'm at the bottom of our list right now. So if I didn't answer your question, please feel free to go ahead and throw another one in there again. And as we're waiting here, just a reminder, if you would like your child to switch from the Milton Cyber Academy to the Milton Flexible Learning Academy, you can email directly to cyber2 flexible@miltonsd.org. And that website, that email address is located in the Milton Cyber Academy webpage. You can click on that link. Be sure to include your child's name, the grade that they're going into this year, and the building that they would have normally been attending. If you are one of those individuals that is switching from cyber to flex, you should be receiving a link to Microsoft Teams from your teachers, from your child's teachers this year. Be patient with that because they will just be getting that information tomorrow morning at the earliest. That will get disseminated to the offices and the guidance counselors. They will have to notify the teachers. They will have to update their team site to make sure that your child has access to that. So, again, somebody asked if we're unable to get our iPad and laptops during our pickup times. Those devices are all going to be distributed to their respective buildings. Any remaining devices, we're going to send them to your child's respective building, and you will be able to pick them up at that building when they become available, which more than likely will be Thursday of this week. Mr. Jones, anything else from YouTube that we're missing?
No.
Nikita was asking if they're doing the Milton Virtual Academy, either cyber or flex, can they still do band? Yep, they can absolutely do band. That can still happen. They're just, I'm not sure if you're referencing, can they come into the building to participate in band, or can they participate virtually through Microsoft Teams? The answer to both of those is yes. We just need to know what you're going to do, Nikita, for your selection. So again, third graders, as far as doing state tests, I can't definitively answer. I'm not sure what grade level the PSSAs start at, but I can answer the fact that state mandated tests, our PSSAs and our Keystone exams at this point are still expected to happen. So if your child was originally slated to take the PSSAs or Keystone exams, then they will at this point, they will have to take them. We will hopefully have a better solidified plan for how that will work if we're still in this type of scenario. And that information will be communicated out to all of our virtual all of our virtual families. Will cyber students have off on Wednesdays like in-person students? No, and in-person students do not have off either. We are technically in a hybrid model right now. The only thing that means is that all of our students will be learning virtually on Wednesdays. They're just not coming into the building, but there will still be virtual education that will be taking place. So even if a student that chose to come in every day, all day, Wednesdays, they will not come in. They will learn through Microsoft Teams. So our cyber education, the expectations are not that they stop. They just continue working. That won't impact us in the cyber school world at all. Flexible learning, you'll just participate on Microsoft Teams or whatever assignments that your teachers have at that point. So again, just for clarification purposes, Wednesdays are not off of school. Students will still be expected to learn. It will just be a virtual learning environment, very similar to what we did last year for all students. Mrs. Cortman just said here that as far as the enrollment, we had quite a few people that said we didn't get an enrollment email for our kids. She just got some clarification that it looks like it possibly could have gone to your junk folder or your spam folder. So for those of you at the secondary level, at the high school level, if you have not received your login credentials for Edison or for Genius, sorry, check your junk folder as well, because it possibly could have gone there. So extracurriculars, I'm assuming you're talking about after school activities. That would be the respective person. So if you're talking about the play, that would be, you would want to talk with Mr. Aguirre. If you're talking about a sport, you would want to contact either Mr. Harris, our athletic director, or the coach of that respective sport. As far as clubs, if you want to participate in clubs, you would want to contact the club advisor directly, email them directly and say, hey, I'm still interested in being involved. I just want to make sure that I don't miss out. And that'll be a good reminder to that club advisor that they need to make sure that they stream their club meetings and things like that. Good question, Chase. Thanks, man. For those of you that have not yet received your iPad or laptop, and I'm not talking about those of you that weren't able to come pick it up. For those of you that weren't able to come pick it up on one of our days, we're assuming that your device is ready. At that point, I'm asking that you on Thursday, probably Thursday afternoon, you contact your respective building and say, my child is participating in the Milton Cyber Academy, Milton Flexible Learning Academy. I'm just calling to verify that you have my child's device in your building. More than likely, they will say, yep, we have it here. You can come in and pick it up. Then you will be able to come pick up your device. For those of you that you came to pick up your device or you received a phone call or an email stating that your device was not ready, someone from the school district will contact you stating your child's device is ready to be picked up and here's where you can pick it up at. Okay, so if you received a phone call, you received an email, or you came to device pickup and they said your device was not ready to go, you will receive a phone call from someone here in the district stating when that is ready, that your device will be ready to be picked up. I don't know when that is at this point. We're going to work on tomorrow solidifying that list, and we're going to attempt to assign loaner devices to as many of those people as possible. And if that process goes well tomorrow, some of you, if not most of you, should receive some type of phone call stating the device is ready for you to be picked up, hopefully tomorrow. So Andrew, if we want the schedule that we had before, that was a CTE program, what do we have to do for that class? So if the CTE program was taken off of your class, or sorry, off of your schedule, you need to do two things. Number one, you need to email your guidance counselor because they will be the ones that will put that back on your schedule, and then email your respective CTE instructor and say, hey, I'm going to be in your class, just so that they're aware of that. Okay, but your guidance counselor will officially put it in Sapphire and you'll be good to go. Okay, so the question was, our cyber student, Milton Cyber Academy, do they follow the same calendar that the Milton Area School District does? Yes, they do. You are a Milton Area School District student. Just because you're learning from at home does not mean that you are not one of our kids. So, yep, every Milton Cyber Academy student, Flexible Learning Academy student will follow the board-approved calendar for the Milton Area School District. So when the in-person students have off, we technically have off as well as Cyber Academy students, and you are not expected to work. What was the second part of that? Yep. That was a good question, probably for everybody as well. Somebody asked, do cyber kids have to be logged in every single day? So according to the Pennsylvania Department of Education, students are required to participate in online education, whether it be in a cyber program, our cyber program, or an outside cyber program, for a minimum of 20 hours a week. Here's what I will tell you. The expectation is that your child completes the expected number of assignments each week and that they are successful at that. If they are completing the minimum number of assignments each week and they're being successful, meaning academically they're successful in the courses that they're taking, that's our primary focus. I'm not saying that the 20-hour requirement is not appropriate, because that it most definitely is. But what I am saying, the most important piece of that, and I want you to understand, is that you are completing the coursework successfully which if you're completing it successfully, we're assuming that you are learning the material that is in front of you. Any final questions, folks?
You're getting praise from a lot of people for taking the time to control the questions. Mr. Birdie and Mrs. Portman. And Mrs. Malone.
No thanks necessary, folks. We're here. I know this is some crazy times. I know a lot of you did not envision sending your kids to cyber school, but unfortunately or fortunately right now, that is the best option for you. We are here to make that experience as enjoyable and the most beneficial that we can for your children and for the families. I can't thank you enough for the patience that you have had with us. I can't tell you how many times I've had that conversation. I feel blessed with the parents that I've had an opportunity to deal with and interact with, that things haven't gone as smoothly as I would have liked them to have gone. But every parent that I've communicated with, every parent that I've spoken with personally, interacted with, has been extremely understanding. And I can't personally thank you enough for that. Robin, you stated there, if school is scheduled to start on Thursday, but we don't have our device, what does that mean? So if your child doesn't have their device, then they're not, obviously, if you can get them on a device to work, that's fantastic. But from a school district perspective, you're not going to be held negatively responsible for that. We didn't get you the device. That is on us. We will get that to you as soon as possible. Folks, I just want to reemphasize or reiterate that this was being recorded. I believe it was being recorded, right, Mr. Jones?
Correct. And it will all be available on our YouTube channel 2 minutes after the closure of this live webinar.
Okay, so it'll be uploaded to our YouTube channel as soon as a few minutes after we are done with our live webinar here. Is there a time that students have to log in? Carrie, no, there's not a specific time they have to log in. That's the asynchronous piece of our cyber program, is that there is not a set schedule for our kids. Yes, there's a set number of assignments that they need to make sure that they stay on pace, but that learning is truly up to the student to get that work done on their own schedule. What I will encourage, though, and I believe I said this earlier, is that it is really important to help in that process if you have a consistent schedule. Hey, from 10 to 12 each day is the best for my child to work. I'm going to set up a special workplace for them. I'm going to try to minimize the number of distractions that they have. I know that a lot of us have these things attached to our hip. But what I can say is that when these phones are near your kids, it is a definite distraction to what they're doing. So I would encourage you, kids that are logged on, get your device in another room. Parents, encourage them to put their device in a room. If you're a parent of an elementary kid and they have a device, keep it away. It becomes a distraction for the kids, and that potentially will impact their educational experience. So set up a space where they can work comfortably. Set schedule works best. You want to put your child in a position where they can be the most successful. And that some of those types of things will definitely help. So if I switch my child from flexible learning tonight, from the cyber school to flexible learning tonight, will my child be set up and ready to go for Thursday? Should be, yes. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to compile all the emails that I received tonight. I'm going to shoot them out to our building secretaries, so White Deer, Fokker, middle school, and the high school, and they will make sure that those kids are then put back on teachers' rosters, hopefully at some point throughout the day tomorrow. And then the teachers, their respective teachers, should be able to send them a link to their Microsoft Teams site where they can join in on day one. Folks, we will definitely be available Please feel free to email questions, to call, and we'll do our best to answer those. And again, I appreciate your patience and understanding. It's taking me a little bit of time to get back to some people. Got a lot of emails and a lot of questions that people have, and I understand that, and I will do my best to respond to those as quickly as I possibly can. If there are no other questions, I want to say a big thank you to Mrs. Cortman for her help tonight and all the work that she's done. Dr. Kim Zalonis, we're pumped to have her on board, and she's going to be a great piece to our team. And as always, Mr. Norm Jones for his support in our Milton Cyber program, but more importantly to our Milton community and the school district for all that he does. Folks, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate you taking some time to spend with us. And I, from the bottom of my heart, look forward to working with you guys, you and your children throughout the upcoming school year. Thanks, and everyone have a great evening.